What's up, everybody? Welcome to DFS by the numbers. This is my betting breakdown video for UFC Vegas 21. We have Belal Muhammad going against the return of Leon Edwards. Haven't seen the guy in about a year and 7 months, so really looking forward to that and really looking forward to this card as a whole. I think this card's getting slept on just a little bit. I mean, there should be some really fun fights. I really do think this card is going to deliver, and as always, it's another great opportunity to make some money as well. So as always, going to be getting into this card strictly from a betting perspective in this video, and a betting perspective only, not going to go into too much detail. If you do want a further in-depth breakdown, you can check out my full card breakdown and prediction video that was posted on Thursday, and then I did do a live stream as well. So lots of content out there. Go check it out. Please leave a like on this video. Really does help out a ton. One small like goes a long way, and also subscribe if you're not subscribed yet. Recently hit that 10K, so hopefully keep growing. And it's all thanks to you guys. So yeah, last week did that contest. Was not expecting to win it, but went out there and hit a 22-1. Hit Amanda Nunes wins in round 1 by submission at plus 475. Parlayed with Medic wins by round 1 KO plus 300. I wish I put more on it. I put like 25 bucks on it. So decent payout, but man, was not expecting to win my own contest. A lot of people were kind of close. I think someone hit like a plus 1800. So I'm gonna run it back. I mean, it's not fair that I'm gonna win my own contest here. So same thing this week. Comment down a parlay. It can be any parlay you want. It can be 2 legs, 3 legs, 4 legs, 5 legs. You can parlay props, anything you want. Just what I'll say is make sure you drop the odds, because for some of them I had to go in and do the odds myself, which kind of sucked. But make sure you comment down the odds. And winner's going to get $25. I'll try not to win it this week, I guess. I mean, I'll put mine down there, but yeah, I wasn't really expecting to win, but yeah, Amanda Nunes round 1 sub, parlay with Medic wins by round 1 KO. I couldn't believe it, but it is what it is. So running that back this week. So comment down below your parlays with those odds there. So with all that out of the way, let's get into the video here. I'm going to go into I believe I have 6 bets. Might be looking at adding maybe a prop or 2 that I'm really looking at. If I do, you can follow me on Twitter, DFS_numbers, Instagram, DFS by the numbers, where I'll be posting my final bets there. And yeah, so we have the first fight of the night, Semelsberger versus Jason Witt. And I feel like this fight can go one of 2 ways. Either Jason Witt's going to be able to get this fight down to the mat early and often, grind out Semelsberger and eventually find that sub. Witt, being a brown belt on BJJ, has a decent amount of submissions on his record. We've seen Semelsberger submitted before, and this is a line I kind of thought would flip after everybody got into the tape and seen that Semelsberger can be taken down, and he can be taken down easily. He's been taken down by some very low-level guys. It was just 2 years ago that he lost to an 0-0 guy. So definitely sketchy record for Semelsberger, but he is young. He's improving. He has some power. And the thing with Jason Witt is he has one of the worst chins I've ever seen in my life. I mean, the dude's been knocked out 3 or 4 times. He gets hurt in pretty much every single fight. So I definitely see paths to victory for both sides, but I did take a shot on Witt. I got him at plus 124. I have 1 unit on it. And because I do think he should be the favorite here. He has a lot more experience. He's training at Glory MMA and Fitness with James Krause. James Krause, Tim Elliott came out there last week with a very good game plan of, getting takedowns, winning the fight. I feel like Jason Witt can implement the same game plan here of just getting takedowns. But with that said, on the flip side, Semelsberger is extremely live for a KO. So if you do like the Semelsberger side, I think the KO prop at plus 230 is probably the way to go. And, what I also did was I played the under in this fight. I like the under a lot. I saw the opener at plus 170. I was not finished with my tape study in the fight, so I didn't pull the trigger. But once I finished my tape study, I went back to play that under 2.5, and it was sitting at plus 160. So I do have the under plus 160, 1 unit on it. And, like I said, I think either Witt's going to get the takedowns, get a submission, or I think Semelsberger can knock him out. So either way, I think plus 160 is, really off there. And I know the line's been getting hammered all week, and rightfully so. So I'm going to take Witt here. I'm going to take him by sub. But ultimately, I do have the under, and I do have Witt as a straight bet. So 2 bets in 1 fight there to start off the night. Going up a fight, we have Gloria Paulo versus Ginyu Fry, and I'm going to be betting DePaulo here. I have a bet on her, minus 162, 2 units on it. And this is basically a fade on Ginyu Fry, somebody that's 35 years old, somebody that's an atom weight fighting at 115. 0-2 in the UFC. She's looked, very underwhelming. The thing with her is she's just so low volume. I mean, you can look through her career. She's, low volume in the majority of her fights. She's landed 26 significant strikes in each of her 2 fights here in the UFC. 26 against Kay Hansen, 26 against Loma. I guess the only concern I have is if Ginyu Fry just goes out here and takes down DePaulo and, grinds her out for 3 rounds. But even then, it's just not something that we see Ginyu Fry do all that often. And we've seen DePaulo, threaten with submissions off her back. She actually has a decent submission game, it looks like. Training with Mara Bueno Silva at a decent camp. I really like DePaulo. There are some sketchy moments in her record, but she is 25 years old. She's getting better and better each fight. I do expect that takedown defense to improve, and she's going to win this fight just based off of throwing more volume, but I do think she's the more dangerous striker as well. Fry has one knockout win, and that was in 2013, and she's had a long career, so I'm not really worried about Fry finishing her or nothing like that. I'm just worried about maybe her taking down DePaulo and controlling her, but even then, I do think DePaulo is more than capable of either getting up or threatening with submissions off her back. So I'm going to take DePaulo here. A fade on Ginyu Fry. I faded her in both of her UFC fights, and I will continue to fade her as long as she is in the UFC. But if she loses this one, I'm not too sure she'll be in the UFC much longer, honestly. All right, next we have JJ Aldridge versus Courtney Casey. Gonna be quick on this one. I'm gonna go with Aldridge, I guess. I mean, this is such a close fight. From a betting perspective, it's probably dog or pass, and I'd probably lean towards that plus 230 decision on Casey, if anything. If you're on the Aldridge side, it's probably minus 115, but even then, it's probably not worth to take a stab there. I do think this fight goes to decision, but then again, it's like minus 400. So really, I'm struggling to find any really angles in this fight to bet. This is probably the biggest pass on the card for me. But as far as a pick goes, I'm going to take JJ Aldridge. I think she's the better striker by a little bit, I guess. But I do think she can possibly mix in takedowns. Courtney Casey has a non-existent takedown defense, and we have seen Aldridge get a couple takedowns in the UFC. But ultimately, this fight's going to be very close. From a betting standpoint, it is probably dog or pass, but I'm going to do the smart thing and pass here. Next, we have Nasrat Haqparast versus Rafael Garcia. Yeah, I like Garcia. I think he's I can't talk. An interesting prospect, 26 years old. But this is just a big step up in competition, going from Humberto Bandone to Nasrat Haqparast on 3 days short notice, and it's just a bad stylistic matchup for him. Garcia, more of a submission guy, wants to go in there and get takedowns. I think he has maybe one knockout on his record, if that. And I just don't see him knocking out Haqparast or even getting him down. I mean, he stuffed a lot of takedowns from Alex Munoz. Haqparast did in his last fight. His takedown defense is improving. He's improving. He's young. He's getting better and better. And it's just a bad matchup for Rafa Garcia here. I think he leaves a lot of openings on the feet. He's very wild at times as well. And I do think that Haqparast probably gets the knockout here. And ultimately, I do have Haqparast in a two-leg parlay. And he is that first leg there. If you're looking at a prop, I think Haqparast by knockout is not the worst option in the world, plus 125. Garcia's obviously never been finished. She's never lost a fight, but I do think there is high potential for Haqparast to get a knockout here, but ultimately I do have him in that parlay. All right, next we have Ronny Yaya versus Ray Rodriguez. I like Ronny Yaya here, but there's some question marks. I mean, the age, the cardio, but this seems like such a winnable matchup. I mean, Ray Rodriguez, somebody that just got submitted in like 30 seconds against Brian Kelleher. And what really sold it for me was, going through the tape, Ray Rodriguez gets taken down in every single fight I watched. And then what sold it for me was that Chris Gutierrez fight where Chris Gutierrez, the striker, was taking him down, controlling him, dominating him on the mat. And Chris Gutierrez, the striker, ultimately ended up submitting Ray Rodriguez in the first round. So that's what really did it for me. I do think Ronny Yaya wins. I do think he wins in the first round. It's just what happens if it does, gets out of the first round. I mean, the age, it's getting up there. The cardio's not there. So although I do have my question marks, I do like Ronny Yaya. If you're going to bet Yaya, you might as well bet him by submission. I think the decisions lie, but I think the more likely scenario is probably a first-round submission by Ronny Yaya. But I see a lot of people on the Ray Rodriguez side. I don't hate it, taking a shot on him. I get it, but just, seeing him get taken down easily fight after fight after fight and getting submitted by, Chris Gutierrez, it's just a really bad look. So, yes, I do think Ray Rodriguez is live, but the pick is going to be Ronny Yaya. I'm going to stay away from the props on this one. I was really looking hard at the first round sub prop for Ronny Yaya, which was plus 225, but ultimately, I'm just going to pass on this one and do the smart thing here. Next, we have what very well could be the fight of the night. We have Charles Jourdain versus Marcelo Rojo, and this is going to be an absolute banger. I mean, two guys that have no problem throwing down. Both guys are really good finishers. Charles Jourdain, 100% finish rate, never won by decision. Marcelo Rojo, 88% finish rate. And both these guys are finishers, so small cage factored in as well. I do see this fight ending inside the distance, and that's why I do have a play on it. I do have the under 2.5. I got it at plus 100. I have one unit on it. And the thing with this fight is, Charles Jourdain, he's never been knocked out, but he has been clipped before, he has been hurt before, and Marcelo Rojo is definitely nobody to, he's no slouch. He can definitely hit hard, really good finisher, decent ground game, but he has some power as well. But the thing I don't like about Rojo is he's coming up a weight class. He's going to be the smaller guy in this fight, so I do like Jourdain. I just don't like the line, really. But ultimately, I do like the under 2.5. I think Jourdain has potential to either knock him out or maybe hurt him on the feet, possibly submit him. Because the thing with Rojo is Rojo has been submitted 4 times. He's never lost by knockout, but he does leave a lot of openings on the mat. And Jourdain, believe it or not, is a brown belt in BJJ. He does have submissions on his record prior to the UFC. We just haven't seen that yet. The thing with Jourdain, he has 0 takedowns in the UFC. I do expect that to hopefully change here. I mean, there's a glaring weakness for Rojo, and that is that submission defense. So I think Jourdain's live for a submission, believe it or not, and that is sitting at plus 500. I'm really close to putting a little bit on that. I mean, I think Jourdain is very capable of winning a submission, and he was posting on Instagram, I think last night, saying there's a good possibility that there's going to be a submission in this fight. Don't be surprised if he submits him, but ultimately I do think this fight finishes, whether it is Jourdain getting that finish or whether it is Marcelo Rojo pulling off the upset, which I do think is live, but I'm going to take Charles Jourdain here. Angela Hill versus Ashley Yoder. I like Hill. Not going to get into it too much. Minus 345. I guess you could say it's too wide, but I don't see Yoder winning. Angela Hill, somebody that's improved her takedown defense tremendously. If this fight was, 2-3 years ago, I'd probably give Yoder a better shot here, but Angela Hill's takedown defense has been on point, and on the feet, it's really not even competitive. So Angela Hill for me, I did put her in my Hail Mary parlay. I think she's a fine parlay piece. It's really hard to see Yoder winning. Minus 180, Angela Hill by decisions are probably the way to look. I think that's what I went with in my Hail Mary. If you're on the Yoder side, probably plus 540. Yoder by decisions, probably the way to look if you're on the Yoder side, but it's just a stretch. I mean, this should be a fight that Angela Hill wins. I know she's been to 2 really close decisions that she lost. I thought she won both of them. Yoder's a much different fighter than like a Watterson or a Claudia Gadelha, so give me Hill here, and I'm pretty comfortable with that, although it is women's MMA, and I guess it could play out somewhat close, but Angela Hill really should get this done. Next, we have Darren Stewart versus Eric Anders. Yeah, kind of, I don't know. This fight's tough. I mean, I think Eric Anders has a clear path to victory, and that's with getting takedowns. I mean, Darren Stewart's somebody that's been taken down, and that's kind of been his weakness. I mean, we've seen a lot of fights where he is getting taken down, and that's how he's losing them. But the thing with Eric Anders, it just seems like whatever you expect the guy to do, he just does the opposite. I really question his fight IQ. I really question the cardio. I really question where he's at in his career. He's 33 years old. I do think he's on a slight decline because he's just not the same Eric Anders we've seen, a couple years ago. I just think he's not been looking all that great. But, he looked fantastic on the scales. A new camp change. I think Anders is live. I honestly think this line's off, to be perfectly honest with you. If I was to bet anything on this fight, it would probably be the Eric Anders decision prop at plus 310. Or Stewart plus 130. It's just I don't really want to put my money on this fight. If anything, I think the fight does go to decision. I think fight goes to decision at, I think it's like minus 195, minus 190 is probably a good parlay piece. Both guys very durable. Stewart's never been knocked out. But I guess I'm gonna take Stewart because I just can't trust Eric Anders to come in here with the game plan of getting takedowns. I feel like it's gonna be a very close fight, and I'm just gonna take Stewart just by doing more. Just by doing more, throwing more output. Anders is extremely low volume, and I just can't trust him. He's burned me, more than once, more than twice, probably more than 3 times. So give me Darren Stewart for the win here. Just no confidence in that at all, and it is probably dog or pass from a betting standpoint. Next, we have Manol Kopp versus Matthias Nikolao. Kopp hopefully bouncing back after that, really bad look in his last fight against Pantoja, where he just did not throw anything at all. And actually took a shot here. I took a shot on Matthias Nikolao. I bet him at plus 116. I have 1 unit on it, and the line is closing a little bit. I just think this is such a winnable matchup for him. I mean, people forgot who Matthias Nikolao is. This is somebody that, made a really good showing in the UFC, went 3-1, ultimately did get knocked out and cut, but went 2-0 since then, coming back here. And I really like the skill set of this guy. I think this is a very winnable matchup where he can just, outland Kopp. I mean, looking at Kopp, it's not just his last fight where he's low volume. I mean, throughout his career, this guy just does not throw much strikes, and I think Nikolao has very underrated striking, very underrated power as well. I was really, pleased with what I saw with the striking of Nikolao. And, his bread and butter is that ground game. And that's kind of why I bet Pantoja in the last fight with Kopp. I mean, I thought Pantoja would take him down, work that ground game. He didn't need to, which was, crazy, believe it or not. But Nikolao, I do think he can get takedowns. And I have seen Kopp stuck off his back. I've seen him lose decisions by, being taken down, grinded out. I've even seen Kopp sub before. And Matthias Nikolao is a legit black belt, a legit grappler. So I think there's multiple paths to victory for Nikolao. The problem is that chin. The problem is that chin. He's been knocked out twice. He's been dropped a few times in his career. And Kopp does hit hard, a very good finisher. So, outside of Nikolao getting knocked out, I think he should probably be the favorite here. If you're on the Kopp side, might as well take that plus 305 knockout prop. I don't necessarily see him winning a decision just because of how low output he is. And, I think Nikolao has a lot to bring to the table. I think he's a very well-rounded fighter. And I think people really forgot about this guy, but I do think that they're going to be reminded here when he does get the slight upset here on Manol Kopp. But with that said, could Kopp put his lights out? Absolutely. But, if you're saying that's his only path to victory, should he really be like a minus 120 favorite? I'm leaning towards no. I mean, this is the 125-pound weight division, and we don't see knockouts left and right unless we are, guys like Davis and Figueiredo. So I'm going to take the shot on the dog here. I think he should be the favorite, and I'm going to take that plus 116 shot there. All right, next we have Jonathan Martinez versus Davey Grant. I like Martinez here. I think he has Grant covered basically everywhere. Going to be the much younger guy, training at a good camp. We see him making improvements, fight after fight. Davey Grant. The thing about him is he has 4 submission losses. He's never lost by knockout. Davey Grant's never lost by decision. He's losing by submission. So can Jonathan Martinez submit Davey Grant? I don't know, but it's plus 900 for Jonathan Martinez to win by submission, which I do think is very interesting. Because Grant's never lost by knockout or decision. But ultimately, I'm going to side with Martinez by decision. I think Martinez is a fine parlay piece. I did throw him in my Hail Mary there. I just think he has, Grant covered pretty much everywhere. And I think that's the one thing I was worried about at first was the ground game of Grant. But even then, Grant's getting reversed by guys like Gregory Popov. So I think Martinez's ground game is more than good enough to either get the reversals, maybe even find a submission. Was kind of, surprised with what I saw with the Martinez ground game. It was a lot better than I expected it to be. But, I don't know. I'm going to go with Martinez here, most likely by decision, but I'm really looking at that sub prop at plus 900. I do think there's a chance that he could be the 5th person to submit Davey Grant, but I do know that the more likely scenario is that Martinez decision there. Dan Ige versus Gavin Tucker. Yeah, a tough fight here. I do think this fight is 50-50, honestly. Gavin Tucker has been looking fantastic. He's 34 years old, and it's crazy to say this, but he's in the prime of his career. This is the best Gavin Tucker we've ever seen. I know people are going to bring up the Rick Glenn fight from 2017, but he took that a 2-year layoff, came back, and he's on a 3-fight win streak and just looking great. But we got to kind of factor in the guys he's been beating. I mean, Justin James, guys like that. In his last fight, he beat Billy Quarantillo. So, I mean, I definitely get it. Ige's fought the much better level of competition. I just think that this is a pretty winnable matchup for Tucker. I mean, on the feet, it's going to be close. Obviously, you give the power advantage to Ige. You give the chin and the durability to Ige. But I think the volume probably goes to Tucker. And what it's going to come down to for me is that ground game. And Tucker, very good wrestling. He showed it in his last, few fights that his wrestling looks legit. And I know it's against guys like Billy Quarantillo, but still, Dan Ige is somebody that has a 58% takedown defense. He has been taken down. He has been controlled. So I think if Tucker comes in here with the game plan of getting takedowns, I think he's extremely live. I mean, Tucker is a black belt and BJJ, legit black belt. Both guys are. But overall, this fight's close. I do think it's 50-50. I do think the line's off in somewhat way, but I'm probably going to pass here. I wanted to wait and see if more money came on the Ige side. If I could have got Tucker at plus 150, I probably would have pulled the trigger. But ultimately, I'm going to pass. I'm going to sit back and watch this one. I'm fans of both guys. I like them both. But I'm going to take Gavin Tucker for the win. I'm going to take him to win by decision there. Next, we have Misha Serkinov versus Ryan Spann. This is going to close out my parlay here. I have the fight doesn't go to decision in this fight, which is minus 400. I got it at parlayed with Nasrat Haqparast for minus 178, and I have 3 units on it. So one of my bigger plays it's my biggest play of the year, actually. So 3 units on this. And, I mean, it's hard to see this fight going to the scorecards, and honestly, it's hard to see this fight going to the second round. So I'd be really shocked if this fight did not finish. Serkinov has not been to the second round, I think, in 6 or 7 fights. And we saw how bad Spann looked on the scales as well. So I don't know if his gas tank's going to hold up for 3 rounds. But I took it the safe way. I could have did the under 1.5. But I'll take the extra insurance there of this fight not going to decision. I'd be shocked. I mean, look at the props here. I mean, Serkinov by decision plus 720, Spann by decision plus 665. I mean, these guys are finishers, both of them. And then Serkinov's never lost by decision. Span's lost by decision twice, but Span's also been knocked out before and subbed before. So I think Serkinov wins. I think he wins in the first round, and this is probably going to be in my parlay for the contest on this video. Probably Serkinov first round might be a parlay piece for me. So, but yeah, ultimately I do think this fight finishes. I'm going to take Serkinov. I do think he's going to be the stronger fighter. He looked better at weigh-ins than Span. Span looked awful. And yeah, Span doesn't really get taken down a lot, but when he does get, taken down, or when guys do try to take him down, it's, it's pretty easy. So I'm going to take Serkinov here, first round submission. And then finally, Leon Edwards versus Belal Muhammad. I like Edwards. Obviously, there's concerns with the layoff, about 1 year and 7 months since we've last seen him. But, big step up in competition for Belal Muhammad. Going from Diego Lima to Leon Edwards is huge. And, he just fought a couple weeks ago. And Lima really tore up those legs. So I'm really interested to see how those legs hold up. And, if I was Edwards, I would really invest in those leg kicks, early and often. But I like Edwards here. I mean, the thing about Edwards, though, is, kind of low output, kind of slows the fight down, but he's very good at not getting hit. I do expect this to be, somewhat a close fight, but I just think Edwards is going to be, hard to hit. I think Muhammad is going to really struggle to get that range. Edwards is going to be the bigger fighter. We saw at weigh-ins as well, and Edwards looks in phenomenal shape. So I'm going to take Edwards to win by decision. I wouldn't be shocked if there was like a fourth or fifth round finish as well. So I think, yeah, maybe the fourth or fifth round prop for Edwards, it could be something to look at. But ultimately, I like Edwards to win. I did put him in my Hail Mary as well. I think it's a good matchup for him. But this is, Belal Muhammad's been on a roll. He really has. But just kind of look at the level of competition he's been facing. And this is a very, very big step up in competition. So, yeah, guys, thank you so much for watching. This has been the betting breakdown for UFC Vegas 21. Make sure you guys comment down those parlays. And be sure to put the odds with the parlay as well. I'll be getting $25 to the winner. I don't expect to win again, but hopefully somebody else can get it so I can get those winnings out to you guys. And just want to say thanks for all the support. Hit the like button, hit the sub button, always very, very appreciated. And then check out the Twitter, DFS_numbers, Instagram, DFS by the numbers. I'll be posting my final bets on there. Looking at a few more spots, maybe I'll throw in a prop or two, but mostly that's going to be it. Just kind of recap here. I do have Matthias Nikolao plus 116, 1 unit. Gloria DePaula minus 162, 2 units. Jason Witt plus 124, 1 unit. Witt, Semelsberger under 2.5 plus 160, 1 unit. Charles Jourdain under 2.5 plus 100, 1 unit. And then the big parlay I have is Hack Press parlay with Serkinov Span fight does not go to decision. Minus 178, 3 units on that. So that's about it, guys. It's going to be a fun card. I do think this card is going to surprise a lot of people with, how fun it really is going to be. I think there's a lot of great fights. And, good luck. As always, have fun. Let's win some money. And talk to you guys soon. Good luck.